Well, what's up, and welcome back, everybody. So, YouTube's CEO, Susan Wojcicki, in an open letter to creators, has just released her latest stance on how to balance openness with its responsibility to protect the community. Now, when I first noticed that Vox was trashing YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki over her latest blog post letter, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says it's, quote, more important than ever to let people upload anything they want. Oh, good news for people like me who have been consistently banned openly and shadow banned, obviously, for years now on YouTube. Vox goes on to say that means the video platform is okay with, quote, content that is outside the mainstream, controversial, or even offensive. Now, when I saw Vox angry at Susan Wojcicki because Susan Wojcicki was siding with more free speech on YouTube, I was shocked. Because unfortunately, Susan Wojcicki's entire history so far, at least since Trump won, has been consistently crushing creators, crushing the very philosophy that made YouTube, meaning it's a place where you and me and anybody can post anything they want on the internet. So I decided to read the blog post, and unfortunately, it looks like it's just sort of political pandering from Susan Wojcicki. But there are some very interesting things that really got my hopes up, and I really hope that Susan Wojcicki does the right thing for the very platform that she's in charge of, which is allow the open and free expression of ideas. So Susan Wojcicki, preserving openness through responsibility. So she begins by saying, as I do every quarter, I'd like to pause and reflect on my priorities, blah, 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 blah. YouTube is built on the premise of openness. Based on this open platform, millions of creators around the world have connected with global audiences, and many of them have built thriving businesses in the process. But openness comes with its challenge, which is why we also have community guidelines that we update on an ongoing basis. Most recently, this includes our hate speech policy and our upcoming harassment policy. Of course, that's a whole issue on its own. When you create a place designed to welcome many different voices, some will cross the line. Bad actors will try to exploit platforms for their own gain, even as we invest in the systems to stop them. So this is all typical pandering to the media industrial complex. But then the tone of the letters quickly changes. Susan writes, despite these concerns, I believe preserving an open platform is more important than ever. Okay, but now listen to this. This got me excited. First, openness leads to opportunity. Today's creators have built an entire creative economy and are redefining the face of media. They are truly next generation media businesses with millions of views and global brands who are contributing to local and global economies and creating jobs. These are creators that would not have had a chance to break through in a more closed media landscape. Now, stomp on the brakes and let's read those few sentences again, because that is the most damning thing I've ever heard Susan Wojcicki say about the media industrial complex. And of course, the media industrial complex is the mainstream media. It's the dying old media enterprise. First, openness, free speech on YouTube leads to opportunity. Today's creators have built an entire creative economy and are redefining the face of media. Now, in the past few years where YouTube has done nothing but get on its knees and pander and grovel to the media industrial complex, hearing her say that YouTube's creators have built an entire creative economy and are redefining the face of media, that there is a giant middle finger to the media industrial complex. It just is. There's no other way to take that. What she's saying here is that YouTube's creators have redefined the face of media. She goes on to say they are truly next generation media businesses. So not only have they redefined it, they're the future. YouTube creators are the future of media content. That is essentially saying that the old dying mainstream dinosaur media is ancient history. It's the past. It's all over. And of course, we all know that so much of what YouTube has been doing to pander to the media industrial complex has really just been because the media is going out of business and no one watches them anymore. I mean, we had Trump on Twitter just a couple weeks ago, not even a week ago. Wow, report just out. Google manipulated from 2.6 million to 16 million votes for Hillary Clinton in 2016 election. This was put out by a Clinton supporter, not a Trump supporter. Google should be sued. My victory was bigger, even bigger than thought. Indeed. And you know what? No matter all the shenanigans and all the little algorithmic censorshiping and shadow banning tricks that the liberal big tech giants are trying to impose, including censoring anybody who questions scientific consensus, anybody who questions the shape of the earth we live on, it's going to get shadow banned, censored, and taken down. And we all know why it is, guys. By the way, guys, Trump 2020, finally someone with balls. It happened in 2016, and it's going to happen again. Links to these incredible shirts are right down there in the description. Pick one up for yourself. Now, she goes on to say, and it gets a little better. She goes, they are truly next generation media businesses with millions of views and global brands who are contributing to local and global economies and creating jobs. These are creators that would not have had a chance to break through in a more closed media landscape. So now she's even describing the old mainstream media paradigm as closed. That is a shot fired across the bow. I mean, that's basically saying that the mainstream media is an elite group and real people with real voices are not allowed in to broadcast it everywhere. You know, YouTube's original slogan was broadcast yourself. And in the last few years since Trump won, and by the way, he's going to win again. Well, I hope he's going to win again. I'm not going to say he's going to win again yet. I'm not ready to say that yet. But I do think if he won 2016, there's no reason he can't win this time around. Especially, I won't even get into it. These are creators that would not have had a chance to break through in a more closed media landscape. That's crazy. That's crazy. So this is the most critical I've ever heard Susan Wojcicki of the media industrial complex. Really wild. So she goes on to say that YouTube creators are actually generating money, generating businesses, boosting economies locally wherever creators are, which is great. Openness has also helped foster community. On an open platform, a shared experience can unite people in amazing ways. She goes on to talk about a YouTube channel about a teenager with Tourette's syndrome and how teenagers all around the world now can relate. And now they don't feel so alone because they can watch somebody else. You wouldn't get that on television back in the old days. Finally, openness leads to learning. As a daughter of 2 teachers and a lifelong learner, I've been especially inspired to see edutubers turn YouTube into the world's largest classroom. Every time I meet someone new and ask them about YouTube, I hear a story about something they learned on the site. How YouTube helped a student ace her math homework, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there has to be a little bit of glow propaganda in here. She goes on, let me be clear. None of this happens without openness. Without an open system, diverse and authentic voices have trouble breaking through. No shit. And the voices that do get a platform often sound like those who already have one. That small business built on someone sharing their passion for soap making never takes off. That bullied teen can't find a community that looks and feels like them and lets them know it gets better. And that curious person obsessed with planetary physics and looking for a few videos is probably out of luck. Yeah, and people who like questioning the shape of the alleged spinning space ball and the nature of it, they won't get to see things about the flat earth. So a commitment to openness is not easy, she continues. It sometimes means leaving up content that is outside the mainstream, controversial, even offensive. But I believe that hearing a broad range of perspective ultimately makes us a stronger and more informed society, even if we disagree with some of those views. A large part of how we protect this openness is not just guidelines that allow for diversity of speech, but the steps that we're taking to ensure a responsible community. Now, this is where the tone of her letter takes a sharp turn to more political pandering to the mainstream establishment. She just goes on to basically talk about, again, the 4 R's of being responsible in this age and how to crack down on hate speech and how to promote fake news, mainstream media, authoritative sources, and put them on the trending tab and give them free views. Reduce the spread of, borderline content, which, she said that includes flat earth. So blah, blah, blah. So unfortunately, it's a weird, bittersweet thing. She says some of the most confrontational statements against the mainstream media, which are the very ones lobbying to shut down YouTube to begin with, and in ways I've never heard her say before. But at the same time, it ends with a lot of pandering. So I appreciate the change in tone. I appreciate that maybe she's understanding that this YouTube thing, it's got to live up to its name if it's going to mean anything. There's no denying what made YouTube what it was. It's about you. It's in the mission statement to this day, what YouTube is here for. Broadcast yourself. So YouTube has been shooting itself in the foot. It's been destroying its own success in the last few years, all because Trump won. All because Trump won. Look, I know a lot of people follow me think Trump's a shill and Trump doesn't matter. Look, we can debate all day about whether he's real or not, whether or not he's a real deal, but as far as I'm concerned, I still believe that the trajectory of Trump and what he's doing is going to lead towards better things. Is there a quicker, more direct route? There probably is. But I still think that he's the real deal, and I still think I still support Trump 100%. Yeah, there's been some things where I've kind of found he's kind of boring lately, and he's not really pushing the limits like he was during the 2016 campaign. But overall, I still love it. Again, that is it for now, guys. Quick update on that front. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, do not forget, Trump 2020, finally someone with balls. Just click the link right down there below. Pick up a shirt for yourself. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Fight back against YouTube censorship by supporting me on Patreon. You'll also get access to exclusive, never-before-seen videos and other perks like monthly Google Hangouts with me, free books and t-shirts, and more.
Kyrie Irving believes it to be flat.
No,
You saw this, right?
don't get me started.
So we are not on a spinning ball.
Okay.
We're on a flat, motionless.
Oh, this is flat Earth. So you're pitching this as a serious call.
Yeah, no, that's yours.
Welcome back, my woke friends. Earth looks flat, it feels flat. The logical explanation is the Earth is flat, right?
No,
You saw this, right?
don't get me started. And that dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, what's his name? Felix!
Felix Baumgartner.
Felix Baumgartner.
It's billed as the free fall from the edge of space.
Don't get me started. He would have been about 2 millimeters above the surface of this globe. That's his edge of space jump.
And you don't see the curve of the Earth at any altitude. And then
You can see the curve of the Earth at certain altitudes, though.
Yeah, I was on a plane to get here and I saw it.
Yeah.
This morning, the Austrian daredevil plans to jump from 23 miles above the New Mexican desert. That's 120,000 feet, 4 times higher than most passenger planes fly.
And not only that, they made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. So in the photo, you see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space, look at that. No, he's not!
And so when I went flying from England to Africa, the curvature that I saw, would that be just something that I expected to see and my sort of eyes made it look that way?
It was observation that showed us the Earth's curvature in the first place. And if you don't believe all of those scientists and government people for some reason, fly in an airplane and behold an inarguably spherical Earth.
At that height, you don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball.
This is a man who just minutes ago was going 536 miles an hour, break the sound barrier on his way down.
The sky was totally black, I could see the curvature of the Earth, so that was amazing today.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth.
I could see the curvature of the Earth.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat.
I travel a lot and I fly a lot and I can see the curvature when I fly.
Okay, so 35,000 feet, you can see it, right? That's what you're saying?
Generally speaking, I can see a slight curve to it, yeah.
Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson says that you can't see it at that altitude, so I really...
This really doesn't matter. We have satellites.
That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat. Don't get me started.